Okay, let's start with introductions first, so everyone can kind of get to know every one of you. Alex, do you want to go first?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is attorney Alex Tofer. I'm with Tofer Associates and help with accidents.com. I'm here to give you any guidance and answers to questions you may have as to being involved in an automobile accident during your employment as an Uber or Lyft driver.
Great. And Shawn?
Shawn Sasooness here with Sasooness Law Group. We're an injury and employment law firm. Right now on the employment side, we're here to answer questions. On the employment side of things, we get a lot of questions from employees during this time. So questions coming in has increased a lot. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions to ask, here to answer as many as I can.
Great. And James, please.
Hi, folks. I'm sure everyone knows me. I'm the outspoken admin of our group, always getting himself into trouble. And I want to thank everyone for being in this conference today. I know I'm seeing a lot, less and less rideshare stuff in the group and more stuff about employment. And I know there's a lot of anxiety going on with about what's happening. And hopefully these two gentlemen can help with that. So
Great.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, James, for allowing us to host this. Let's get started with a couple questions that we have in here right now. The first question is, how should independent contractors such as Uber drivers fill out the EDD form online? Which questions should be answered yes or no?
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
So there's a big gray area that leans toward more black with Uber Lyft drivers. Uber Lyft drivers are independent contractors. Independent contractors are typically, they don't qualify for unemployment, because unemployment, who gets unemployment? As an employee, as opposed to an independent contractor, employees, when they get paychecks, they pay taxes. Part of the taxes they pay go into unemployment insurance. As an independent contractor, you don't pay those taxes. So if you don't have work, you're not getting income as an independent contractor, you can't get the benefits of unemployment. So that's typically how it works. Independent contractor, you don't get unemployment. However, due to the part of the CARES Act and due to this whole pandemic, federal government, they passed what's called pandemic uninsurance assistance. It's particularly for those people that are independent contractors or self-employed, have their own business. It works similarly to unemployment. You apply for it the same way, and it's a lot easier to get than unemployment. Much quicker. It's not as much as unemployment, but there is something out there, and it just went into effect like just last month. So there is something out there. I've had so many people give me a call, contact me. Yo, I'm a medical doctor. I work as an independent contractor for different offices. Or I'm an Uber Lyft driver. Can I apply for unemployment? I don't have work right now. This is the benefit you have, and this is the assistance you have. It's called PUA, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. You could apply for it the same way you apply for unemployment. Go on the EDD website, and there is a link, very simple, walk you right through it. And I hear that people start getting the benefits and money in their account within just a few days of applying.
Great, thank you.
That's really good to know.
Yeah, super important. We actually have a question in here from one of our attendees. She's asking, how many months will PUA provide for?
PUA, it works the same as unemployment. It's up to 39 weeks. It's up to 39 weeks. And I think there may even be a way where you could, there is additional weeks you could apply for after that. But I do know that it covers up to 39 weeks. It's not that much. You don't get as much as you would on unemployment, but you still get something. So the answer to that is you get the benefit up to 39 weeks.
Great, thank you. Okay, let's have one about kind of the AB5 bill that recently was passed and how that affects drivers moving forward. Also, we kind of want to touch upon how drivers should be reporting accidents if they're considered employees under the AB5 bill.
Well, as far as how to handle those accidents, I'm going to pass it on to that good-looking guy over there. Alex, do you want to take that over, and I'll talk about the AB5 topic after that? You're muted.
There we go. Can you guys hear me? All right. So in order to properly proceed with filing an accident, you should go forward with the same route that you would have whether you're an employee or an independent contractor. Meaning, after an accident, you take the very same steps. You get the information of the driver, you take photographs of the damage, try to take video before the vehicles are moved, and then it's recommended to contact an attorney so the attorney can properly file the claim on your behalf. But just to make it clear, your own insurance would be in effect if you were not on the clock at the time of the accident. So it'd be just a claim through your own automobile insurance if you were involved in an accident. If you were on the clock with Uber or Lyft and were waiting for a ride or were in the process of a ride, you now have an additional coverage that is kicked in by your Uber or Lyft provider. And a lot of times that coverage will become primary over the coverage you carry through your own vehicle. So as to the procedure, nothing as far as I'm concerned has changed. It's still reporting it to the insurance companies, your own and Uber, but it's highly recommended that you do it through a law firm because a lot of your private insurance companies are now finding ways to cancel your coverage if you did not mark the right boxes when purchasing that coverage. So that's what we're here for.
Thank you. That's very important.
Did you mention to take a screenshot of the app?
No, I did not. Actually, that's good to throw in there. Our firms, both of our firms have independent apps that we provide our Uber and Lyft drivers. The app, excuse me, the app basically saves your primary information, your copy of your driver's license, copy of your insurance, copy of your registration. And in case of an accident, you can open the app and take photographs and video and upload it straight to our firm. It will also walk you step by step through the process of filling out the information and obtaining the proper information at the scene of the accident. If anyone's been involved in an accident, you know, when an accident happens, you seem to forget everything and you tend to just be worried about what's going to happen next. So you forget to get the other driver's license and write down the information yourself. You forget to take pictures and videos of the damages before the cars are moved, and you forget to get witness information because you're just in a hurry to basically try to get back on your way and you're worried about what's going to happen. Unfortunately, due to that, we've had several recent cases where people have allowed the other driver to fill out their information themselves on a piece of paper. They have not taken the driver's license at the scene to write it out themselves. And it's turned out that information that that person provided was all fake. And there is now an uninsured motorist situation. Another thing that we highly recommend our clients to do at the scene of the accident is to ask for the other driver's cell phone number and to call it immediately from the scene to make sure that it's the right number. A lot of times, once they realize you have their cell phone number, they will not play the games that they usually do. Another important factor, if you're involved in an accident and it's a possible he said, she said type of accident where another driver, for example, has merged into your lane and hit your vehicle, the minute you get out of the car is the time that that person will most likely be willing to admit fault before thinking about what just happened and realizing they can get out of it. So I highly recommend in cases of an accident, as long as you're feeling okay, that the minute you get out of the car, you do have your camera on your cell phone running, and you basically approach the other driver, asking them, are they okay? And why did they change lanes into your vehicle? Hoping to get the other driver to admit that they were at fault and apologizing to you on video for being at fault. Currently, we're getting so many of these cases where we have unattentive drivers that merge lanes or switch lanes into our Uber and Lyft drivers. At the scene, they admit fault. But then when they go home and they think about the fact that their insurance is now going to go up and they're going to have a point on their record, they change their story. And it makes a simple claim into a long litigation, which could be easily avoided if you are smart enough and you think ahead to pull out your camera and video it right when it happens.
Great advice. Thank you. Someone's asking, do we have to notify our car insurance when we become an Uber driver? Will it increase my rate?
This is a fantastic question. And the answer to that is yes, 100% yes. If you do not notify your provider, your automobile insurance company, that you are an Uber driver, Lyft driver, and you have an accident with your vehicle, and that accident is your fault, once your insurance finds out that you were working for Uber or Lyft at the time of that accident, the majority of policies will exclude you and cancel your coverage for that loss. Because of the fact that Uber and Lyft has become such a significant envoy of vehicles on the road, the insurance carriers have now accepted to insure you as an Uber and Lyft driver. And as long as you notify them of the fact that you are doing part-time or full-time Uber and Lyft driving, they will provide you coverage, which will then become primary and step in case you're in an accident with your beautiful car and you're at fault. So if that happens, your insurance needs to step in to provide collision coverage to fix your car, has to step in to provide liability insurance to protect you from being sued. And that's coverage that Uber and Lyft will not provide if you were not in the course and scope of driving or waiting for someone at the time of the accident. So the answer to that is 100% yes. And as to how much more it will cost or how much it will increase your premium, you can check around. There's multiple different providers that are basically fighting for your business. One of my favorites so far has been Farmers Insurance. They were one of the leaders in allowing these coverages to be provided for Uber and Lyft drivers. So I'd recommend getting quotes from them as well.
Great, thank you. James, did you have something to say? Let me unmute you first.
Yeah, just I wanted to reemphasize something that Alex talked about the Health with Accidents app. I was in a serious accident, and Alex is 100% correct. It took me about 3 hours before my hands would stop shaking. You will not remember to get everything that is required. For your own safety, download the app because it's boilerplated. If you run the app and you use the app, you will get everything that's required in order to deal with this accident. And rideshare drivers, statistically, you're going to be in an accident at some point in your careers. Okay, especially if you're driving in San Francisco. We all know what the roads are like in San Francisco. You'll be at an intersection downtown, and there's like 20 different signs. A tourist that's in the area is going to try to interpret those signs. They're going to misinterpret it, and there's going to be an accident. Please, please, please download the app. When you get in an accident, I'm going to reemphasize that too, is have your cell phone running, the camera running, because you want them to get, whatever is on that other person's mind, you want to get it on there. And this is something that I've harped on before, since for as long as I've been running the group, is dash cams.
Yes.
That is your number one piece of equipment. Don't even consider getting in a car and working rideshare if you do not have a dash cam. Between running your cell phone when you get in an accident and having a dash cam that actually sees the accident, those are extremely, extremely important. And I wanted to make that point to everyone that you really need to be doing those things. Thank you.
Thank you, James. That's actually extremely helpful. And I'd like to add that because of the fact that helpwithaccidents.com is actually out to ensure that our drivers are safe and their families are safe, we have multiple different freebies that we give to our clients as well as our drivers that download our app, which include cell phone holders for your car. I've been in many Uber and Lyfts that the driver is basically driving like this. And I swear to you, it kills me because that person is putting my life at risk as well as their own.
Yeah.
So we do provide those for free for you to put into your vehicle. We provide Additionally, what we've added is for those of you that do not have a dash cam or are unable to purchase it because they're somewhat expensive, we have a system where we provide you with a free dash cam for your car. So as to protect you and your family, whether you're driving for Uber or not, that video in the car can't lie. So if you need
Absolutely.
it, if you download our app, if you contact our firm, we'll be happy to purchase one, ship it to you for free, and provide it to you so as to protect you and your family.
That is tremendous. That is tremendous.
We're here
And
for you.
required equipment, folks. If you're going to do this for any length of time, get a dash cam in your car. Install the app. I mean, just for your own safety, because you're going to understand there's going to be lawyers on the other side, and they're going to be trying to defend the people that caused the accident. And video absolutely positively does not lie. And it's very, very hard to fight reality. So get that dash cam and please, please, please install the app. It's a great app. I have it on my cell phone. And, the less you have to think about when you get in the accident, the better. You can start the app. It's all boilerplated. Everything that you need to collect is going to be there. It's a great, great resource.
And just so you guys know, as James mentioned, attorneys are out looking for claims against Uber and Lyft drivers because of the fact that the Uber coverage is so high. It's $1 million coverage. That's like a FedEx truck insurance coverage. So we've had a lot of reports from our Uber and Lyft drivers that there's been set up accidents where people have been driving in front of them, slammed their brakes on, trying to cause an accident because they see the Uber or Lyft logo on their windows. Again, having a dash cam video in your vehicle can prove that. Having a dash cam in your car can protect you from that. So please, again, since you drive pretty much 10 times more than an average driver who's not working for Uber and Lyft, you need to protect you and your family.
Great. And you
Yeah,
can
absolutely
follow
great.
the link here, onelink.to/helpwithaccident to download the app. And to get a webcam for free, you can call our office or you can reach out to us through James or on the Facebook group, and we'll be sure to set you up with one.
It'd be my pleasure.
Another good question, should I get my rider's info and tell my rider to contact their insurance too if they've been involved in an accident while you were the driver?
Great question. Answer, yes. Why? Your passengers are also considered witnesses of this accident. They can support and verify your version of how it happened. If you have their contact information and you provide it to your attorney, we can also contact them and ask them to please provide us with a recorded under oath statement confirming the facts of the accident so as to protect you. So 100%, the more information that you obtain at the time of the accident, the better it is to assist your attorney in helping you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we do have some more questions about unemployment. Do we have to pay taxes for PUA payment in the future?
No.
Great.
Simple. Yeah, that's funded by the government in response to the whole pandemic. So no.
That's great to know. How can I cancel my current UI claim and apply for PUA?
How can you cancel your current unemployment? You can't. You typically can't do, under normal circumstances, you could probably contact the unemployment office or state employment, the EDD. You could contact them and say, yo, I'm cancel this. I don't need it anymore. Or a lot of times is you apply for unemployment, then you find another job. So you want to contact them and say, yo, I found other work. I don't need unemployment anymore. Under these circumstances, there's no way you're going to be able to get in touch with anybody in those offices. For those people that want to try PUA, just apply for it. Even though you applied for unemployment, just apply for PUA also. Honestly, you'll probably get a decision and a determination on PUA quicker than you would for the employment.
How do you file a second claim for PUA if you already have one open for UI?
Same way. there shouldn't be any reason you won't be allowed. There shouldn't be any reason you're not allowed to apply for PUA.
Okay, great. Yeah, did we kind of cover AB5 and how that affects drivers as employees now?
No.
Did you want to go over that?
Sure. AB5 it's a real hot topic, and the law is almost designed to go up against Uber and Lyft. The theory behind AB5 has been going on for years and years. And the whole theory behind it is employee or independent contractor. If I have an employee and I require him to be at work every single day from 9 to 5, and I give them everything to do, and I pay them cash as an independent contractor to keep them off my book so I don't have to pay them taxes, I can't do that. Just because I'm paying them that way doesn't mean they're actually an independent contractor. I'm just misclassifying them. So the theory behind that law has been going on for a very long time. Now, AB5 comes in, and especially Uber, Lyft, they're the biggest ones with the most independent contractors, and the biggest question of, are these in fact independent contractors or are they employees? So if you guys are curious about AB5, what AB5 basically says is how to determine whether a worker is an employee or an independent contractor. And there are a few factors that are considered. If the employer is controlling the work that the employee is doing, okay, then that goes to show that the worker is not an independent contractor, it's an employee. Another thing is the work that the worker is doing, it's got to be outside the normal course of work that the employer is doing. Okay, so if I have a law firm and I bring somebody in to do legal work, that is within my normal scope of work. The independent contractor has to be doing something I'm not involved in. And lastly, that worker has to have their own separate trade. That's what they do. They don't do anything else. They particularly focus on that area. The biggest thing is the control thing. So the thing with Uber, Lyft, the drivers, they're in complete control of when they work, how they work, where they work, what they do. So that's their biggest argument to say, look, our drivers aren't employees, they're independent contractors. Now, why is this whole AB5 thing important, and why is there such a big fight between Uber, Lyft, and the public? Drivers want to be employees because they get the benefits of being an employee. Uber, Lyft pays a lot of their taxes. There are a lot of benefits that come with being employees. If you get fired, you don't have any more work, you could collect unemployment insurance. Also, the state is pushing to classify Uber, Lyft drivers as employees also, because 500,000 Uber, Lyft drivers in California, imagine how much in taxes the state of California could get if Uber, Lyft is paying taxes for every single one of those drivers. So you have the drivers, you have the state of California, you have all these people on one side, California passing laws like AB5 to try to push and make Uber, Lyft drivers employees. They got Uber and Lyft on the other hand saying, nope, they're not employees. They're not employees. They control when and how they work. We have no control over them. They're independent contractors. They're not our employees. So that's the battle. That's the battle there. And that's the whole theory behind AB5. Any other particular questions on that? Because it's a very, very hot topic. Well, one thing I'll add is Uber, for the first time, just a few months ago, they're like, look, our drivers are not independent contractors. They're not employees, they're independent contractors. But what we will do is we'll offer our drivers work comp. So workers' comp, it's offered by employers. If an employee gets injured on the job, they qualify for work comp. But if you're not an employee, you're an independent contractor, you don't qualify for work comp. But What Uber did do was say, look, they're not employees. They're still independent contractors, but what we're going to do is we'll give them work comp. We'll provide a benefit. We'll provide the benefit of work comp to them. So Uber's trying to like find a middle ground to provide some of those benefits while still not wanting to classify their drivers as employees.
Sure. That's very important to know. I know a lot of people were kind of confused around that topic.
Yeah, you could have hour-long conversation about Uber drivers, how they're classified. I mean, they're all in the courts. They're fighting it out. Everybody wants Uber Lyft drivers to be employees because the state could get so much money, and the drivers could get so many benefits from being employees. But Uber Lyft is fighting it.
Right. Are there a certain number of hours that you have to work as an Uber driver to qualify for workers' comp?
No. Work comp typically don't have to work as long as you're an employee. Well, again, with any employer is required to have work comp for their employees. If you are an employer employing even one employee in California, you have to have work comp insurance. You have to have work comp cover for any injury that occurs on the job. But since Uber is just offering it as a benefit, there's no set amount of hours. I could hire somebody in their first hour of work, they trip and fall in their own shoelace, I have to provide work comp.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. Another question asked was, should I continue to drive Uber after an accident, or do I need to wait until after the claim is settled?
That's a good question. In order for you to be able to drive your vehicle, the vehicle must be deemed safe by Uber. So once you report an accident to Uber, they're going to want to do a reinspection of the vehicle to make sure that the vehicle performs and it meets their codes for you to be able to use it, for you to operate it. To answer your question, though, you do not have to wait for your claim to settle before you start working for Uber again or driving again. You basically just need to ensure that your vehicle is safe. And that is another reason why I highly recommend for our drivers to look into ensuring that they do carry primary coverage, that is aware that they are driving for Uber, that if they have collision coverage, that for sure their insurance carrier is aware of that. Because one thing that we have been seeing is that there is a great delay when it comes to Uber or Lyft when it comes to getting the vehicle repaired when you're not at fault for an accident. Uber implements $1,000 deductible. Lyft, I believe, is $2,500 deductible. So that's a big hit on someone who's driving for a living and basically living paycheck to paycheck. It's imperative to basically have that collision coverage if you can, and if not, we would go through the Uber and Lyft. But the only way that an Uber and Lyft collision coverage comes in is if you did in fact carry collision coverage under your primary policy. So it's somewhat of a mess when it comes to it, and that's why it's so important for our drivers to really understand what they're covered for, what's not covered, what coverages are available for you, so as to ensure that you're safe on the roads. We've had several cases where we had clients that had leased a car and they purchased full coverage insurance, including collision on the vehicle, but they failed to notify their carrier that they were going to be operating for Uber and Lyft. During the time that they're driving for Uber with a passenger, they rear-ended another car, totaling their brand new leased vehicle. The minute that in that case, Uber and Lyft does not step in because you're at fault for the accident, for your collision. So we then have to go to your primary, which is your own insurance company. Your own insurance company, when you report the claim, they identify it as an Uber and Lyft accident, and under their policy, since you didn't inform them and you didn't buy the extra coverage, they exclude that vehicle. So now that individual is liable for the full payment of that vehicle that has now been totaled, and they no longer have coverage for it. So please feel free to contact our firm. My cell phone number for all of you is 310-866-9000. I'm dedicated to ensuring that you're safe, your family's safe. I'm 24/7 when it comes to helping out. And over the last 20 years of practice, every one of my clients, thousands of clients, have my personal cell phone. They call me at the scene of an accident. Alex, what should I do? They call me evenings. They call me on weekends, on holidays, and I'm here for you. So if you have any questions after this program and you want to contact me, feel free to do so, and I'll be happy to walk you through the steps.
Great. I'll share that phone number with everyone as well. Another follow-up question is, if I drive for Uber, how much insurance do you recommend to get?
Okay, that's a great question. If you drive for Uber, the minimum requirement to be able to drive for Uber is the minimum policy in California, which is $15,000 coverage for someone who's injured in an accident. If you injure someone, $30,000 if there's more than one person in the vehicle for injuries, and $5,000 for their property damage. In my experience, that's definitely not enough as a driver on the streets today. I recommend that if you are able to, that you look into getting a coverage of $100,000 per person for bodily injury, $300,000 for the total vehicle for injury for if there's more than one person in the vehicle, $50,000 property damage coverage to protect you from being sued by multiple drivers in case of a multiple car collision. But most importantly, I recommend that you also purchase uninsured motorist coverage. What uninsured motorist coverage does, it steps in when you're involved in an accident and the accident is not your fault, but the other driver either is uninsured or does not carry high insurance limits. And currently, due to the economic state, I can honestly say that 6 out of 10 calls we get a day, the 6 of those other drivers are uninsured because they can't afford to purchase insurance. So if you don't have uninsured motorists and you get involved in an accident with an uninsured driver and they're at fault, you don't have any way to proceed because that person doesn't have coverage. So uninsured motorists at $100,000 per person, $300,000 for your vehicle of occupants is fantastic. Also, collision coverage is imperative. If you depend on your car to make a living, you must have collision coverage on that vehicle because like I said, 6 out of 10 people driving on the streets today don't have insurance. So if you get into a big accident, you have $5,000, $10,000 damage to your car, and the other guy doesn't have insurance, you have to find a way to pay for it out of your pocket. So that's another coverage that I highly recommend. We've also noticed that a lot of drivers are purchasing rental coverage as well to allow them to have a rental vehicle to drive while their vehicle is being repaired. These additional coverages do not cost much, just so you know, but they provide so much better coverage for you and your family that without it, you're basically going out on the road unprotected. So those are the coverages that I highly recommend that you purchase to protect you and your family.
Great. Can an Uber driver and their passenger hire the same lawyer?
Yes, as long as the accident is not an accident that could possibly place on the driver of the car, which would cause us to have an issue of representing both the driver who is possibly at fault and the passenger who has no fault, causing a conflict of interest. As long as it's not that, then yes, one attorney can easily represent a driver and a passenger. It's actually highly recommended if you are not at fault that the attorney represent both you and the passengers, because the goal is to ensure that there's one story, there's one argument, and you have one counsel basically pursuing that on both of your behalf.
Great, that's great advice. All right, we have one question left on the Q&A here. Someone's asking, can we fire an employee if he or she doesn't show up for work? I'm assuming if that's when things start opening up and you guys are asking for employees to come back to the office.
I see.
Yes, you can, but depends why they're not coming to work. If, for example, they're not coming to work because they have COVID, and they have a doctor's note for it, you probably shouldn't fire them. But if they just feel unsafe and just don't want to come into work for any reason, you could require them to come into work. And if they don't, you could let them go. I will just add this real quick, is we're getting a lot of calls about employees having to go back into work, but they don't feel safe. You know, they work closely with other people and they don't want to put themselves or their families at risk. So they just don't want to go in. What can they do? My response to that always is, look, whether COVID or not, your employer is required to provide a safe workplace, okay? And there, especially now, there are certain CDC guidelines in place that employers have to take, such as provide face masks, keep employees at a distance from each other, not having them work close together. And if your employer is not taking these safety precautions to make sure the workplace is safe, you could bring up that issue to the employer, and they need to do what's right to remedy it. And they can't retaliate against you for bringing up a legitimate safety concern. So that's a message to employees on what I advise people who say, look, I have to go back to work, my job is opening, but dude, I don't want to go to work. I don't feel safe going to work. I want to stay home until this thing is done. You got to go back if they're asking you to go back, but they have to follow the right guidelines to make sure the workplace is safe. But to answer that question about employers, yeah, you could let somebody go if they're not coming in, but just make sure you understand why they're not coming in before you make that decision.
Great. So that's, another question just showed up. Do we need to get any additional insurance to cover COVID-19 when we reopen in case an employee or clients get COVID at our office?
Just work comp. Just, you know, it's still funny to me how some employers, mainly the smaller businesses, don't have work comp coverage. That's the only thing. The only other coverage, nothing else you need. Just make sure you have work comp coverage to cover you. God forbid an employee gets COVID in the workplace, that will be a work comp claim. So just make sure you have, as an employer, make sure you have that coverage.
And does workers' comp cover clients?
Does work comp cover clients? What do you mean? So if a client comes into the office or something?
And gets COVID while coming into the office?
It does not. No, that has nothing to do with it. So
can clients sue you if they get COVID?
No.
Okay.
I mean, they can, but I don't think they're going to win.
Sure.
Yeah, they're coming in there at their own risk. So no, work comp is only for employees.
Great. Okay, this question is for James. What should drivers do during these times? Do you think they should continue driving?
In my case, I also have a car service, and please excuse my camera; it's acting strange. I take care of an 82-year-old mother-in-law. If I was to have a passenger in the car and I was to get COVID, I would probably be okay, but I would bring that virus home to my home, and I could very likely kill my mother, my 82-year-old mother. I would likely kill my 82-year-old mother. I would say if you can avoid having a passenger in the car, it would be better for you to, deliver food, deliver packages, do anything you possibly can except have a passenger in your car. Unless you're pretty positive that you can safeguard yourself and safeguard your family, I wouldn't do it. It's simply not worth the money. Not what Uber and Lyft is paying you. No.
Sure.
May I throw in regards to that, there's a lot of drivers that unfortunately do not have that option, that this is their only way of, only source of income. And in doing some research to see if there's anything I could guide them on, there seems to be some new products in the market, which is a shield, a plastic shield that the driver can place between the rear of their vehicle and the front seat, so as to not breathe in the air and so forth of the passenger. I think it's worth looking into those shields. I think At a minimum, it will prevent the air coming from the back to the front. Maybe if you have to drive, ensure that one of the rear windows are open to circulate the air that the passenger is breathing. When you have a passenger in the vehicle, that you make sure that you yourself are wearing your mask, and ask them to do the same. I believe it's current Uber policy that they're not allowed to ride unless they're wearing their masks. So don't be afraid to require that. Protect yourself. And this way, at least you can take every measure to ensure that if the person in the car is sick, that you're protecting yourself from that going towards you. And last but not least, I think it'd be highly recommended, and I think it's only fair as an Uber driver, that you try to spray your rear compartment, passenger compartment, with some sort of disinfectant spray to try to keep it as clean as possible for your passengers to come in. We don't want to be helping spread this unfortunately disease to our passengers who are helping us make a living.
Great, thank you, Alex. I think we'll be hosting another giveaway, giving away these plastic screen shields that you just mentioned.
That would be huge.
Great.
We're actually looking into those. I've only seen a couple of them, and I'm just trying to see if it actually helps, or is it just a fraud that they're trying to make money off of selling something to people trying to be safe. So we're researching into that currently to see if it is helping. Then we'd have no problem with providing those to our drivers.
You know, we have a sponsor coming online that offers those shields. It's my understanding they're going to be offering a discount. And I'll talk with you, Alex, later. Maybe we can do something with this manufacturer of these shields to offer some sort of discounted pricing to the drivers. It's my understanding it's like a splash guard. It's not going to be 100%, but it is, if it stops, these droplets from going from the passenger to the driver portion of the cabin, if you leave your rear windows open and you have your AC unit on, or have air flowing from the front of the car to the back of the car, you're a lot less likely to get that be inhaling any of those virus-laden droplets. So it's my understanding they do work, and I'll be talking with the manufacturer to see if we can, who is going to be a sponsor of the group, to see if they can offer the drivers some discounts.
Great, thank you for doing that, James.
Yeah.
Sure. How often should drivers get tested for COVID-19?
Honestly, that's a personal decision. I mean, you can't really tell someone to go and get tested if they're not feeling any symptoms. And I do believe I don't know how much the test costs, to be honest with you, but as long as you're taking these extra safety measures that we've discussed today, I feel that you're as safe as someone that's basically going grocery shopping in a grocery store where everyone's touching different fruits and vegetables and boxes and milk cartons and so forth. I don't see you as a driver being more susceptible to getting ill as long as you do take the safety measures that we've discussed. That would be my opinion, but I'm not a doctor, and I think that's a personal choice that each of you needs to make.
Sure, great, thank you. So I think we're going to be wrapping up the Q&A today. Thank you, Alex and Shawn, for answering these questions. Once again, this is Alex Tofer from Tofer Associates and Help with Accidents, and Shawn Sasooness from Sasooness Law Group.
Hope to speak with you again, and I'd love to set this up for a routine that we can do to be available to answer questions and help out. But in the meantime, feel free to download the app, communicate with us. My law firm is Tofer Associates. You can reach me, Alex, at toferlaw.com. And once again, my personal cell phone is 310-866-9000. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.